Most people are trying way too hard to manifest. They're visualizing, affirming, scripting, reprogramming their mind all day, every day, but they're still not seeing results. What if the reason it's not working is that what's blocking you is the very thing you're trying to use to manifest? Your mind. The truth is, manifestation is much easier when you stop using your mind for every little thing. This video is for anyone who's done with complicated techniques, overthinking, and they're ready to manifest as fast as possible by completely dropping the mind. Today we're going to cover three things. First, why typical manifestation advice creates more blocks. Second, what happens when you detach from the mind completely in the manifestation process with a personal example from my life. And third, we'll give you a simple daily practice to enter into this state and manifest as fast as possible. First, let's get real about the problem. Manifestation is not about thinking positively 24/7. It's not about forcing yourself into some ecstatic state or trying to maintain perfect mental and emotional alignment with your desire fulfilled. In all honesty, that gets exhausting fast. You've probably tried all these things, visualizing your desires, affirming repeatedly that you have it, trying to feel it real here and now, and yet doubt creeps in. You're wondering if you're doing it wrong. You're wondering why it's taking so long. There's impatience, there's fear, there's worry popping up in the mind, and all of these things are just getting in your way. So why does this happen? The reason is because the mind is active every moment you're not doing a technique. When you're doing your work, when you're in the feeling, you're doing wonderful. Everything is perfect. But the rest of the time, the mind is constantly analyzing, worrying, looking for signs, and it's all contradicting your desire being fulfilled here and now. So no matter how good you're feeling when you're doing your technique, your mind is becoming a block to all your good, all your positive, pure intentions the rest of the time. So what if there's a better way? Instead of trying to force your mind to reprogram it and get it into alignment with your desires fulfilled, despite all the opposite evidence in your 3D experience, you just drop it completely. Seriously, dropping it completely, not engaging at all whatsoever with the ego mind, the monkey mind that is so obsessed with the physical experience and what you're seeing with your physical eyes here and now. Instead, you're going to use your mind only to set pure intentions and drop it the rest of the time. Let's break this down. First, we have to recognize that the mind is inherently limited. It cannot predict or imagine or use logic to figure out how miracles are going to manifest. If you've successfully manifested before, oftentimes you'll find, looking at how it came to be, your mind couldn't have possibly figured that out. It couldn't have thought of that solution, and yet here it is. That's because the mind is designed to work off of past evidence or lack thereof and logic. However, manifestation, the successful conscious creation of everything you desire, happens through God, source, universe, the infinite intelligence and power of the subconscious mind, or your higher self, if you will. This part of you operates and exists beyond the limits of the conscious mind, and it does all its work there in the infinite. That means that every time you rely on the limited mind, you limit yourself. As Neville Goddard said in his lecture, The Law of Identical Harvest, the rational reasoning mind is simply the interference between you and the infinite power that you are. Even Scripture agrees and supports this. In Matthew 6:25, we are told, "Take no thought for your life, what you shall eat, or what you shall drink." Eating and drinking are necessities, but we're told to take no thought about them. We're not told take no negative thought about them and think positively about it and force yourself into a positive emotion. We're told take no thought, positive or negative. Even positive thoughts imply limitation. $1 million might sound expansive and wonderful to you, but it's minuscule, it's limited when it comes to the possibility of billions the universe may have in store for you. So do we really need to think positive in order to manifest our desires? Contrary to what is often taught in the law of attraction, law of assumption space, no. Jean-Claude, a student of Neville Goddard, when explaining living in the end, said, "Faith and belief is nothing more than the presence of an idea in consciousness freed from contrary thoughts." Let that sink in. That means you don't need to force belief or positivity in thought or emotion. Belief only works to convince a limited mind anyways. We're stepping completely beyond the mind in order to free the pure intention, your desire as an idea, from all the noise. Neutrality, not positive or negative, is good enough to manifest your desires because, in truth, everything we could possibly desire or want to experience through circumstance is neutral anyways, aside from the meaning the mind, the limited mind, gives to them. The mind says things are good or bad, easy or difficult, possible or impossible, fast or slow. So instead of engaging with the mind and all of its limitation, trying to force it one way or another, you can drop all thoughts, emotions, and the constant analysis. And the intention, what you desire, will still manifest. And in fact, it's going to manifest much faster without all of that mental interference. So how does this look in application? How does this play out in real life? Well, I'll tell you, when I was in a very difficult spot, I manifested paying off a large bill with no money, no savings, nothing, simply by dropping the mind. Years ago, I was broke. I had a credit card bill due that day. I had no money in the bank, no cash on hand. I couldn't even focus on getting or manifesting a sale in my business because it would take days for it to process and hit my bank account anyways. I needed that money that day. Normally, I would freak out and spiral into thoughts like, how am I going to pay this bill? What's going to happen to my credit? Very important if you live in America, you know what that is. And the one that bothered me the most, should I ask someone for money? Thankfully, I'd been learning about this concept of how to completely detach and drop the mind. So I decided if there was ever a time to try it, it would be now. I set one pure intention. The bill is paid. That's it. I dropped all other thoughts. I didn't do any visualization. I didn't do any affirmations. I didn't go through mental loops of wondering about how, when, if. I didn't allow any of this. I completely disengaged with the mind. I did this by being present. I took myself for a walk. I felt the wind on my face. I could smell the trees around me. I was being very, very present so that I could stay disengaged from the mind which was trying to go crazy. While I was on that walk, I happened to check my phone and I had gotten an email from someone who wanted to book a coaching session with me using PayPal. The amount was exactly what I needed to cover the bill, and because they used PayPal, I was able to instantly transfer the money to my bank and pay the bill. I didn't allow stress, I didn't allow the mind's mental activity, forcing it positive or spiraling into the negative. I only allowed thoughts of the pure intention, the bill is paid. Then it was conscious presence and surrender that guided me to the success. That moment changed everything for me because I realized how powerful it is when you really surrender. When you don't use the mind, when you don't try and overthink, when you don't try and solve it for yourself using logic and reason, you completely get out of your own way, so all that energy is freed up for God to use, your higher self to use, to fulfill your desire. Imagine how different things would have been in that experience if I sat there and tried to reprogram every little belief about the how, the when, the if, blocks about money in the mind, especially when fear and worry would have been the dominant emotional state diving into all that mental work. Instead, by dropping everything except for the pure intention, time collapsed and my desire was fulfilled. Now, how can you practice this daily? This practice is inspired by Richard Dotts in his book Manifest As You Read using instant manifestation protocols. Long title, I know, but definitely worth it if you want to check it out. It's super simple. So for 1 week, you're going to divide all your mental activity into 3 categories. Number 1 is pure intentions. These are desires, goals, things that you want to manifest. Number 2 is mental activity. That would be thoughts, positive or negative. And number 3 is emotional activity, positive or negative. The more you become aware of these activities going on in your mind, the easier it will be to drop the latter two. Any mental or emotional activity, positive or negative, you cut it out completely. Your job is to identify only with pure intentions. Hold them in your awareness for a few moments and then let them go. After that, you drop everything else. So how do you drop it? As I say often, you give it to God or to your higher self, or as Dotts calls it, not mind. When a thought or emotion arises within you, don't analyze it, don't stress over it, don't resist it, just hand it over. Say within yourself, this goes to the not mind to be dissolved completely, that I may be at peace, in complete presence, here and now. Let the infinite take care of it. You cannot consciously conceive with the limited thinking mind of the infinite possibilities within you waiting to be unleashed. So as you get used to dropping all your thoughts and emotions, then you're going to practice more presence. So aside from using the mind purely for setting intentions, your goal is to be in the here and now. Feel the clothes on your body. If you're eating something, taste the food, chew it slowly. Enjoy it to the fullest. Hear the sounds around you. If there are birds chirping, enjoy the sounds. No matter what you're doing, you can get present and completely immerse yourself in the experience. That way you do everything without commentary, without all the mental chatter and noise. You just experience what's going on here and now. This is the easiest way to drop the mind, not by fighting it, but by easily, effortlessly, instantly returning to the now moment. Now, a final thought for you. Manifestation is as simple as moving your arm. We're told constantly that everything is manifestation. So think about it like this. Moving your arm is a manifestation. You simply set the intention and then your arm moves. There's no need for thinking positively or negatively about it. You don't work up emotions, positive or negative about it. You simply set the intention and it happens. Everything is equal. Everything is the same. Manifesting moving your arm is no different than whatever it is that you desire, the house, the car, the ideal relationship. For this reason, we should learn to manifest even the bigger things, as the mind would call them, in that same fashion. Set the intention and then drop the mind completely. And because you won't be engaging with the mind, which is where time exists, then you'll find that it doesn't take very long for a pure intention, once held in the mind and dropped, to manifest physically in your life. As much as the ego doesn't like it, your job is not to control the process. It's to stop letting the mind interfere and allow the manifestation to happen. If you want help detaching from 3D circumstances, the mind in general, and anything else that's blocking your manifestations from coming as quickly, easily, effortlessly as they should, I have an entire detachment course which is a huge help in these areas and more. You don't need it, but it will definitely speed up the process of making you the easy, effortless, automatic creator that you're meant to be. I'll leave a link in the pinned comment and the description. Next, if you want to learn how to master forgetting to manifest even faster, watch this video right here. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. As always, thank you so much for watching. I love you all very much, and I will see you next time. Take care.